Um, he's had like a phenomenal success for the 6 years that he's been doing real estate. He's going to be telling you all about it, and he's going to be talking about the 10 key ingredients
for our recipe for success in real estate.
Your recipe for success.
My recipe.
So it means nothing to us. Basically, it just works for you.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. I wanted to just
like
check.
to hear myself
I just wanted to check for you, exactly.
Much better when there's people kind of listening.
Ask questions, take screenshots, take notes. Just utilize your time here as much as you
The place to
can.
take notes is on the handout here. Thank you very much.
He's putting it.
Okay, all right. So the 10 key ingredients for our recipe for success in real estate investing. When I say our recipe, I'm pretty sure that when I'm finished, you'll realize that although it says my recipe, it's really not something that it's not something that you haven't heard before. Maybe you haven't heard it put in this format before. But the key is the next slide, which is that anyone can use to achieve any level of success, totally up to you. Now, I'm pointing this out because I want to make sure that, see, if I had achieved some success because I'm a gold medalist at the Olympics, how many people in the room here have won a gold medal at the Olympics?
No. Don't ask me to score. No, we put our hands up for everything. So.
Wow, that was.
On which?
It's actually at the World Championships.
Good
Okay,
girl.
all right. So,
Four?
okay.
For what?
We're rowing.
Oh,
wow.
Oh, yay!
Big deal.
Okay, you kind of ruined my point there about.
Careful with that.
Let's have another example. Let's say that the reason I've been successful is because I was the only person who landed on the moon. Anybody here has landed on the moon before? All right.
Depends.
So we don't have, Laurel and I don't have a master's degree in rocket science or anything absolutely so spectacular that people will walk out of here and say, well, yeah, that's easy for these guys. They won the gold medal and they landed on the moon. Of course they can do that. No, this is for everybody in the room. Absolutely everybody in the room can do what we've done. All right. My lovely wife at the back there, Laurel, who is going to be
Hi, Laura.
doing a surprise presentation later about something else. We've been in business for a while, yes. That's the name of our company, Safe and Sound Real Estate Investment Group. And one thing we love to do is helping other people reach their real estate investment goals, which is why we do a lot of mentoring and coaching and teaching. Who here knows Zig Ziglar?
Yes.
All right. What is one of, if you've read his book, there is one quotation that talks about helping others. Do you know it?
We help enough people.
You can get everything in life you want if you help enough other people get what they want. That's our philosophy, so this is why we do a lot of coaching and teaching that we do. So, where were we in January 2010? Because we started, we took a Rich Dad Poor Dad course on the 3-day weekend. In December, that's right, you were away on business. I took the course 3-day weekend, and then throughout, that was early December. Then throughout the holidays and stuff, we decided we were going to do this full time. It took us 2 months to find a name for the corporation. It had to be meaningful. We'll talk about that later. And we incorporated on February 1st, 2010. That's when we started. So we had no money to invest and we had no credit worthiness. Now, I don't know in the room here who works for CRA, so I'm not going to explain to you in great detail why we had no credit worthiness. It's not that we didn't make any money, but we had no credit worthiness. So read between the lines. This is where we are today. So in 2016, we own right now 24 rent-to-own properties, and we also have 11 buy and hold properties that we got in Niagara on the lake. Those houses actually are all around our home, like a nice little square. Plus, we own our home. Back in 2010, we were renting a really nice townhouse in Ottawa, but we were still renting. Right now, the portfolio is 36 properties. The value is $11.7 million, and our claim to fame, if I can say that, is that of that money there, we have invested exactly this. Not a penny, not a dollar of our money is in that. It's 100% financed through investors. Now, if we're not using our credit and our money, how many more can we do?
As many as you want.
Exactly. So in 6 years, with zero experience in real estate, because we have business background, but not in real estate, no money to invest, no credit worthiness, and we got to where we are in those 6 years. How did we do that? I can say without blushing, we are experts at using the key ingredient that I'm going to be showing you this evening. Now, this is the first line on your handout, please. These are the words missing. My business is finding people who will invest in my real estate deals. Now, I need to pause here for a minute away from the slide because I need to explain, for those of you who read the little blurb there on the website to invite you to come here this evening, there was a reference to phase 3 investors. Okay, this is my terminology. This is how I see real estate investing, so let me share that with you. What I call phase 1 is who here has 1 or 2 properties, rental, okay, you're making some cash flow, not enough to leave the job, but you're making some cash flow. Phase 1. So you started, you got some education, you've, well, started, okay, but you're doing this and you got to phase 1, which is you're making some money, not enough to leave the job, but it's kind of a nice little income, maybe enough for a second car, maybe enough for a vacation, maybe enough for, you know, some extra fancy things for the family, but this is what I call phase 1. Phase 2 is when you get to the point where you still don't have quite enough to leave the job, but you're this close. And you know that if you left the job, which would give you way more time, now you'd be able to go and, you know, leave it and do this full time. That's what I call phase 2. That's a little harder to do because it means that even though you're not doing it full time, you're putting a fair amount of brain cells and energy into doing it, and you're right there. And then, of course, if you can leave the job behind, well, so much better. Now you can do this full time. Phase 3 would be you've done this full time for a while and the real estate is doing so well that you can now step away from the real estate and start something completely unrelated. So later on, Laura will tell you about our little project. It's a 10-year project. We started about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago in the planning, but really about 2 years ago. Why? Because I would say that last spring we reached phase 3. That means that we are still doing real estate, we're still interested in real estate, but we can now kind of push it aside a little bit and look at this thing over here which has nothing to do with that, and we have the time freedom and the monetary freedom to be able to do that. This is what I wish for everybody in the room. It is really nice to be in phase 2 and do this full time, and real estate pays for all of your, you know, lifestyle and everything. It's great, but man, the day that you can actually say, okay, but why don't I just leave that aside and, you know, become a pro at golf, or go back and do my master's degree or a PhD in whatever, or why don't I start this theater troupe that I've been wanting to do because that's my real passion that I could never do before, but now I can. This is what I wish for everybody in the room. Phase 3.
I know you can't give a hard number, but would you be the thing like 4 or 5 properties for phase 2, or what? It's different for everybody.
Yeah, seriously, it's very, very different. Two things. One is how much is each property cash flowing? That's
Right.
one thing. But 2 is how much do you? I mean, you know, you look like a really straightforward guy, but if you were spending $20,000 a year just in booze, for example, you need a lot more cash flow than the guy who's, you know what I'm saying? Okay. So it depends on the lifestyle. It's really hard
Maybe
to tell.
some wine.
In wine?
Maybe some wine.
Okay. Laura will be talking to you. So, sorry, back to, so this to me is a very, very important sentence, which is why we start with that. My business is finding people who will invest in my real estate deals. Okay, now I know why I was talking about phase 1, 2, and 3. Phase 1, you can do on your own. Buy 2, 3, 4 properties, nice little cash flow, that's fine. Phase 2, if you need 10 or 12 properties, it's a little harder to do on your own. Phase 3, I promise you, there is no way that you can do that on your own. I know we're recorded, so I have to watch the language here. You absolutely cannot reach phase 3 on your own. There is no, look, we own 36. When I say we own, that is beneficial owner and legal owners. So some of the properties we own were the legal owners, some of the properties were the beneficial owners. I can explain that afterwards if you want to know what that means. But the point is, we cannot reach phase 3 on our own. We need other people, and we're going to be talking a lot about that this evening, actually. Because real estate, contrary to what everybody else is telling you, all the gurus, all the people who put seminars on cash flow and cap rate and capital gains and buildings and ROI and everything else, obviously you need that in real estate. But first and foremost, real estate is a people business. I really want you to think about that. I'll be drawing later on. Oh, I'll show it now. I wrote this brick here in the 2004 and 5. Took me 2 years. Canadian bestseller. I'll be drawing a copy later on for people who put their business card in our bag. In that book, I wrote that sentence there, which has been quoted quite a few times, expresses my philosophy about what I just said. The dictionary is the only place where it's okay for business to come before people. So real estate business is about people. So what is key ingredient number 1? Develop your people skills.
Action.
Develop your people skills. Key ingredient number 2, real estate investing is a business. Treat it like a business. I cannot tell you how many people I know, and I meet them all the time, whether it's at Rain or other places, and you just can tell that it's like a hobby. It's like playing golf or something. They do real estate like they would be playing golf. Usually when you play golf, it costs money, it doesn't make money, so they're running their real estate, whatever they're doing as a pastime or as a weekend kind of thing. They're not, you sense that they're not business people. How much money do you want to put? Do you want to put all your life's RSP into somebody's deal when you feel that this is like a hobby and they're not really? No, exactly. Now, when I say treat it like a business, there's two things. There's what Joe probably doesn't see, but even if they don't see it, it still impacts the way you behave. For example, are you organized? If I walked into your house tomorrow and you're a real estate investor, would it look like somebody, would you make the right impression on me that I can invest $100,000 with you because it's nice and cool and organized and obviously you're on top of things? Or would you be one of those where you walk in the office and it takes you 5 minutes under everything to just find your cell phone because I'm going to give that guy my money? I don't think so. An office with all that is needed. Appropriate professionals, meaning having on your team the right people to do the job. Investing money to get things done properly. What I mean by that is I meet people and they come to me and they want to invest, they want me to invest with them. They have a business card that they designed themselves, you can tell that. The worst kind is the one that they print at home because then you can feel the edge there, the perforation. So their story tells me, they tell me the story that it's successful, it's going very well. Their business card tells me they can't afford $25 at the Staples to get some business cards done. So, so invest a little bit of money to get things done properly. Now what Joe Public does see, your business name. I did tell you we took probably, close to 2 months to find the name for the business. And what is the name of our business? The name of our business, that's the acronym that we use, but the name of our business is right on top of the... yeah. Now, why did we pick? Well, first of all, we knew we wanted to get big, and when I say big, everything's relative here, but at some point, so we use the word group. Obviously, real estate investment group, what do we start with? our philosophy when Laurel and I started was the following. 10 years from now, when we're absolutely no longer doing any real estate business, I want to be able to look back and say, in all the years we've done real estate, not one investor lost one penny working with us. That was the foundation for our business. So what are we going to call this business? Pumpkin investment? Not really serious, right? I saw a card yesterday. Dragonfly properties. I mean, nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't inspire confidence. So we picked the name Safe and Sound Real Estate Investment Group. Now we have something to live with every week, every day, every deal. So when you pick the name of your business, remember what it's going to tell people when they walk away with your card and they get home, they hold your card. What is that name going to tell them about you? Some details, but still, if you write me a check for whatever reason, I want to see your company name on it. I don't want to see your personal name or Mary, Beth, and Bob, whatever, and then what looks like a residence. That doesn't tells me that you're not really running a business. A business phone number, not your home number where your 4-year-old son will answer the phone when I call. Not very good. Professional voicemail. Again, I called somebody about 3 weeks ago and got the voicemail. And that was probably their 4-year-old daughter who, "Hi, my dad's not here. Leave a message." All right. Let's move on. Logo, letterhead, business cards, same thing. It has to leave the impression that you are a business person and you know what you're doing. Email signature, websites, and many other things. Speaking of logo, can you see the logo on top of the?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Laura and I designed that logo. So the top part obviously is a house, real estate. Key at the bottom, because we do rent to own. So basically we tell people we can help you buy that house. We have a key to you buying this house now rather than 3 or 4 years or never. But what's in the middle?
Heart.
Yeah, but on the other side, on each side is SS, Safe and Sound, Simmons and Saint Jean, which are our last name initial. And in the middle, you've got a
Heart.
yeah, we love what we do and we love helping people. So is that a good logo?
Yes.
Some thought went into that. You can do the same when you get home. Whatever it is that you pick for a name or whatever, just think about it and what is it going to tell people?
So Daniel,
Yes.
so you set it up as a corporation?
I'm sorry?
Did you set it up as a corporation?
Yeah, we are big believers in corporation. How many do we have now, Laurel? 6. Okay, so yes, everything we do, every single business ever since I started is a corporation all the time. And by the way, 5 of those end, year end is January 31st. So that's what we're doing right now. Yeah, but we believe that everything should be incorporated.
I know you're investing with investors, but have you guys had any trouble getting mortgages through banks, being a corporation?
No, when you deal with the right mortgage broker, you don't.
Does it limit your lending options?
I'm sorry?
Does it limit your lending options?
A little bit more, but at the same time, we can't get some of the numbers, like the 2.65, we didn't get that, we got a little bit more, but then we were able to get the volume, which is what we were after, so.
You feel it's worth it?
Yes, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Thank you.
So back to what I was saying about all the little details, but what it does, it's about trust. It's about creating the feeling from somebody that you're talking to that they can trust you. And a lot of these little details, or apparently details, when they all come together, help people think about you as somebody they can trust. Key ingredient number 3, build a basic foundation of real estate knowledge. Basic. Now, I'm not advocating that you spend all your time learning about how to run a business and how to talk with people, 2 people or 3 people, and then you don't learn anything about real estate. That's not what I'm saying, but if I had to put some percentages, I'd say spend 75% of your resources being really good at running a good business and at talking with people, 25% on learning about real estate. Okay? I need a volunteer here. You. Thank you.
All right.
Ask me to define cap rate.
What does cap rate mean?
I have no effing idea, but I mean, I don't. I really don't. I know it's a number. I have no idea why we use it and stuff like that. First of all, it's not relevant to what we do. But if I need that information, I can call. Can you define what a cap rate is?
I can, yes.
Okay, see, so I can always find somebody to give an answer about that. If you ask me an accounting question, a legal question, and I don't know, that's fine. I can pick up the phone and call a whole bunch of people. I can find any answer I want. Here's where that team, though, is not going to be helping me. When I'm sitting at a coffee shop talking with you about investing, if I am not able to communicate with you, I can't get Todor's help, I can't get my accountant's help, I can't get my lawyer's help. It's me and you. That's why I say be very, very good at talking with people, dealing with people, etc., etc. These detailed questions, it's a phone call away. If you and I were talking and you say something about, or ask me a question I don't know, I can say, just a second, if you give me 3 minutes, I'll find out for you. Then I can call somebody and I can get the answer. But those people cannot help me deal with the face-to-face, the facial expressions, how you react to what I'm saying, etc., etc. So spend a lot of your time on your people skills, a little bit on basic information. That's what worked for us. Now you can take all of this tonight and throw it out the window as you're heading out, but this is what worked for us. Key ingredient number 4, begin with the end in mind. We formed the corporation with an idea of where we were going to be today. We didn't think it was going to take only 6 years, but we wanted to get to the point of, although I didn't know at the time it was called phase 3, but that's what I called it. So, but we knew we wanted to get to a point where we would be comfortable doing the real estate, and the real estate would take care of us. Begin with the end in mind. A lot of people here read a lot of motivational books and stuff like that. Who said that?
Stephen Covey.
Yeah, all right, Stephen Covey. What's that?
7 Habits.
Or at least a good idea of what you want the end to be, please. It's so much better when you start with an idea of where you want to go. What do you want to build? When I say build, I'm going to show you I'm going to make an analogy, or an analogy here. But what I mean is, what do you want to build as a business? So let's imagine the story here. What's your name?
Chris.
Chris. Okay. Picking on Chris tonight. All
I
right.
was gonna say you're picking on Chris.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, I'm looking at him and I can tell he can handle it. So,
It's a soup, it's a soup.
and if not, he can crap out of me on the way out. So that's fine. So let's just imagine that you want to build this house. So you call your realtor so he can find you a lot, and then you call your architect and you say, I want to build this house somewhere in, let's say, Brampton. And then 3 months later you say, you know what? The lot you found me is a little too big or big. Why don't I do this instead? Okay, so now we go back to the city, we go back to the permits, we go back to the architect, we go back to the engineers. 3 months later, I said, wow, now, this is what I want to do. Let's do this 8-plex here. This is going to be so much better. Again, 3-4 months, spend money and etc. And then you say, you know what? Why don't I do that instead? And then after that, people say, well, that's a lot of unit to sell, that's a lot of rental. Why don't you do something like this instead? Because you've got the zoning anyway. So why don't you do, industrial? Okay, perfect. So that's what we do. Can you imagine you doing something like that? Would that be silly? Okay. Some people are building their business just like that. Every time I meet with them, they're on to something different. I meet with them this week, they're going to be doing some flipping. I meet them 3 months from now they decide to do some wholesaling. And now they're going to be buying in the States, so they go and travel in the States. But now somebody told them about Alberta, so they're going to go to the RAIN conference in Alberta. Begin with the end in mind. Know what you want to do. And then once you know what you want to do, there's some question. What do you want to build? Do you want a part-time on the weekends? Will your real estate business be part-time 20 hours a week? That's a little bit more than the weekend. If you have 3 kids, I don't know, 8, 12, and 14, 20 hours a week is going to be a lot of time to put in the business. Do you want to build a business that's full-time where you work in your business, in other words, your business, or you want to build a business where you work on your business, meaning you do have people to do the office stuff, the little details, and all you do is looking for deals, looking for investors, and you're not really working you're working on your business. Totally different setup. And it's a good thing to know that when you start. And once you know what you want to do, focus. key ingredient number 5, focus. Can anybody explain to me why I have the magnifying glass there as a symbol of focus?
Because you burned bugs when you were a kid?
What's that?
You burned bugs when you were a kid?
Not bugs, come on. But you are close enough. If you take a pile of paper and put it in the yard in July and you take the magnifying glass, you can spend the day there going like that, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, nothing's gonna happen. The minute, probably 30 seconds that you stop the magnifying glass and focus the ray of sun on that paper, within 30 seconds it's gonna be ablaze. Focus. Stop moving around. Focus. Focus on what? Well, focus on the strategy first of all. What do you want to do? Lease to own, buy and rent, buy, fix, sell, which is flip, buy, fix, refinance, rent, multifamily, student rental, pre-construction condos, commercial, industrial, development. What do you want to do? Pick one that you think you're going to be successful at, or that resonates with you. We did lease to own. That was our initial love. Now, and then we did buy and rent. Yes, but we did 20 rent to own before we got some buy and rent. Pick a strategy and stick with it for a while. It doesn't have to be forever. I can promise you, when we talked about earlier about learning, getting a basic foundation of real estate, it's pretty hard to do that if you're going to be doing 7 strategies. Remember, build a basic foundation of real estate knowledge. Well, that's much easier to do and much easier on your resources if you're going to pick one and do that one. Focus on an area. Don't tell me, if I meet people in the room, in the alley, the hallway, and they say, the hallway, and they say, well, I invest in the U.S. No, you don't invest in the U.S. You invest in the state, you invest in the town, you probably even invest in the park, but you don't say I invest in the U.S. Who invests in the U.S.? You don't invest in Canada, you invest in an area. So focus on an area, not a country, not a province, not even an area like the GTA. We have about 3 or 4 spots this big on the map that we focus on, and everything outside of that is no interest to us, but we really know the area where we are investing. Key ingredient number 6, adopt a professional attitude. That, of course, would come with the earlier part about being organized, having a business, looking the part. It is so important to look the part. Looking really sharp, by the way. There's 4 people with suits here tonight. This is really good. Oh, yeah, me. Okay. Cool. Back to ingredient number 2, treat your real estate investing like a business, like a professional business. Key ingredient number 7, build a team of specialists. Specialists. So, realtors who are investors, right? Todor? Realtors who work with investors, correct? Realtors who specialize in an area. How many houses have you sold in Saskatoon the last 5 years?
Let me think. 0.
Okay. We have the dearest real estate realtor in our area. So we live in Niagara-on-the-Lake, St. Catharines, Niagara Falls. So the whole peninsula. Her name is Sarah Thiroux. She is absolutely amazing. Anybody who wants to do any kind of business down that way, I refer them to her. She is, well, I can't think of another word, amazing. But when I want to do business in Oshawa, I don't call her. I call Michael Dominguez. Anybody here knows about Michael Dominguez? Yeah. When you want to do business in Oshawa, you call Michael Dominguez. He knows the area. Okay, so mortgage broker, same thing. Somebody who knows how to build portfolios, right, Susan? Accountant and bookkeeper. I talk to people, they ask me about our accountant, and they tell me about their accountant. Their accountant owns a house, but he's never bought another property. He doesn't really understand real estate, for probably the kind of where the word capital gain might have to look it up kind of, but he's really, really good. No, but you know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's a family accountant, his dad was using it, and probably his granddad was using it. So you need an accountant and bookkeeper who specialize in real estate, for whom CRA rules about real estate and investing have no secret. You need specialists, lawyers. There's a misconception out there that if you walk into somebody's office and you look next to their door and there's a certificate there that says they're a lawyer, that means they know everything and everything they say is correct. We had a lawyer tell one of our clients about 3 weeks ago that you could not do RSP mortgages in Canada, it was illegal. Okay, we've done 60 of them for $3 million, so, and all of them were set up by lawyers, so we know that it's okay. But what I'm saying is that just because the guy is a lawyer doesn't mean that everything that comes out of his mouth is the truth. Sometimes it's just simply because he doesn't know. So that guy obviously did not know that you can do that. But again, oh, I keep on clicking on this thing here. So lawyers who know real estate, lawyers who know RSP, credit repair specialists, if you're going to be doing rent-own, that's essential. House inspectors. So we use a really, really, really good house inspector when we do Guelph, Kitchener, Waterloo, and that area. It's phenomenal the work that he does. However, if I buy a house in Hamilton built in the 30s, I'm not asking him, because there's going to be stuff in there that him at 32 years old has never seen before. Then I'm going to call Chuck Billingsley, because Chuck Billingsley is 61. So he's been inspecting these types of houses for years and years. He knows what to look in a house built in the 1940s. Okay. So again, specialists. And a website developer, well, you don't need to spend a lot of money on websites, but if you are going to do it, please get somebody who knows what they're doing. Again, a specialist. Same thing here. We don't do any social media, but when we will, and we will actually for the new business, we are going to get somebody who is really good at doing that, because that's not what we do. So pay a little bit of money, get somebody who knows how to do it, and another expert. And key ingredients number 7 again, use all the OPs that you can. What are the OPs?
Other people?
Other people's experience. Other people network. See, very pretty lady here, but when I'm looking at you, do you know what I see? I see about 150 people in your Rolodex behind you. Everybody in the room here, every time I meet somebody, I'm always thinking, well, them first, but I also acknowledge the fact that right behind them, or there's 150, 200, 300, 400 people in their Rolodex. If this lady and us start to do business, we will want to tap into her network, the same way she'll want to tap into ours. Other people's network, other people's time. You don't have enough time in the day to do everything if you want to get to phase 3. Other people's time, other people's drive. If you're not motivated enough, team up with somebody who is a fireball and let him drive you all over the place and get things done. Other people's knowledge, obviously, because you'll never live long enough to learn everything that you need to learn. And especially, Chris?
Other people's money.
Of course, thank you, Chris. Other people's money. So, 11.7 million is our portfolio, and we found $11.7 million of investment. Other people's money. Key ingredient number 8, consider all the possibilities. Be creative. If you do any type of real estate investing, right, Todor?
Pushing your buttons.
You're
Sorry.
pushing buttons, Trevor.
Oh my God.
Push my buttons. No.
Okay. Todor, if you are going to be doing any type of real estate, are we going to come across some speed bumps, some detours, some dead ends, some whatever? It's always going to be. If you do real estate investing for 3-4 years and you haven't come across any problem, you haven't really done enough of it or much of it or anything, because it's going to happen. It is going to happen. What's that?
I'm the only one who's done it for 20 years without a single mistake.
Oh, okay.
Nobody else.
So let me give you a quick example of what can happen. We do rent-own. Out of the last 7 deals that we've done, we do a strategy now called it's actually refinance. That is when somebody like you, for example, who's been with your bank for 5 years and with a nice mortgage on your house, but for some reason something happened in those 5 years and your credit took a little bit of a hit. And normally before, the bank would call you about 90 days before renewal and they'd say, Mr. What's your name? Brandon? Mr. Brandon, would you please come in the next 90 days to renew your mortgage? Now, they're going to check your credit before they do that. And if your credit is not up to their liking, you're going to receive a letter that will say, Mr. Brandon, please be advised we are not renewing your mortgage at the end of the term. Now, if you've been with that bank for 5 years, okay, and you've paid every mortgage, never defaulted whatsoever, and they're not renewing, what are the chances you're going to go across the street to the other bank where you're a stranger and they're going to give you a mortgage? Exactly. So we found people in those situations. They don't want to lose their house. They don't want to leave their house. They want to stay there, but they can't renew their mortgage. So of course we'll come in, we'll buy the house for them. They will be tenant buyers for the next 3 years while they're fixing their credit. They'll buy the house back in 3 years. Don't have to move. Don't have to tell the family. Don't have to do. It's really cool. We love that strategy. The first one that came across our desk, the lady was 33 days before losing the house. She called us. We were number 6. She had called 5 other companies who do rent-own before. All of them turned her down because within the first 2-3 minutes, the question was, how much do you have as a down payment? Well, if you are planning right now to buy a house in 6 months, you may start to accumulate your down payment so that when you get there, you'll have money. But if the bank tells you with 90 days to go that you're going to be out of the house, you probably don't have $25,000 sitting in a bank account for a down payment because you were not counting on that. You were just counting on renewing your mortgage and be done with that. So of course, they didn't have the money. So she told me that all 5 other companies turned her down because she did not have the money, the down payment, and we ourselves would not take a deal without a down payment either. So I told her, I'm creating suspense here. Let me sleep on it and I'll come back to you tomorrow morning. There's got to be a solution to that. So this is about being creative. So in the morning I called my lawyer and I said, if that lady wrote you a letter saying that on closing day you have to write a check to me for $25,000 out of the because there's equity in the house. There's always equity when people are renewing are in this situation. There's always equity. In their case, they had $70,000 of equity. So I know that on closing day there'll be $70,000. But for me to do the deal over here, I can't start the deal because I don't have cash in my pocket, a deposit. So he said, yeah, sure. So we created a letter of intent, a letter of direction. So now the letter of direction says, Mr. Lawyer, on closing day, from the proceeds of the sale of my house to blah, 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 write a check to SS Reg for $25,000, $30,000, $40,000. When the lawyer signs it and gives it to me, that's a deposit. This is good as gold. This is good to go. So we've used that strategy. Now we've done 6 of those deals that nobody else wants to do. Be creative. Use your imagination. There's a way to do something. Actually, I encourage you to become the CIO of your company. Chief Imagination Officer. It's amazing what you'll accomplish with that. Key ingredient number 9, be patient. Hold on here, I just need to take a survey of the age of the people in the room here. Okay, there's 1, 2, you understand delayed gratification here, 3, 4. For everybody else, this is a foreign word, okay. Yeah, the gentleman, you're smiling. Because when you want something, you pull a credit card and you buy it, correct? Not necessarily, okay. Those people in the room here who don't understand that you start working in March and you accumulate your money when you're 7 so you can buy the bike at the end of August, because now you just go to the parents, they go to Canadian Tire, pull out the credit card, $300, buy your bike, and then the next day you're biking. It doesn't, in real estate, delayed gratification. Be patient. Be persistent. Stay in the game. I'm going to show you something here that is, I think will make the point very well. Stay in the game. This is our fantastic curve over 6 years, or 5 years anyway, till the end of 2015. Does this look like a mountain? Like, or even more like that? Does it look like that? Or does it look kind of like, okay, one house, one house, one house. So after 5 quarters, we still have one. Then we bought another one here in June 2011. That's it. Then we bought 2 just before Christmas on December 2011. So after all that time here, we have 4 deals. Then the next spring came, same thing. Then we found a mortgage broker who brought us, we closed 8 deals in 10 weeks in the summer of 2012. And then after that, well, kind of like a nice little, and then we bought the 11 houses in one afternoon in Niagara Lake, so a big jump. But that's, so what if we had, at this point here, what if Laura had said, you know what, look at that, almost 2 years, nothing's happening here, let's just get out of this stupid business because it's not working for us. Be persistent, be patient, stay in the game. You stay in the game, you get a phone call from somebody who says, hey, I've got all these people here and they all have the money and they have a good job, but they can't qualify. So 8 deals in the summer of 2012. If we had walked away, well, the rest of that never happened. Stay in the game. As long as you're in the game, there's something that can happen. Key ingredient number 10, build trust. Probably half of what I've been talking so far. Is that 44 minutes? This is supposed to be a 30-minute presentation. Okay. Build trust. This is, to me, this is what it comes down to. I love this quote. It sounds very simplistic, but it's not when you think of it. In this business, pretty much in most business, but in real estate, especially if you're going to be using investors, if you have credibility, nothing else matters, except maybe if you are a
Chris?
if you don't have credibility, nothing. I'll buy you a drink after. Buy him a drink after, Laurel? Okay, thanks. If you don't have credibility, nothing else matters. So if you sit in front of people and it sounds like you know what you're doing, but they sense something, and there's so many different things that they could be sensing that ruins your credibility, they're not going to return the phone calls, they're not going to do the investing, it's just not going to happen. Who here knows Julie Broad? Yes. I love that quote that people are not investing in your numbers, they're investing in you, the trustworthy partner. Talking about trust, everything about you is a common tool, communication tool. Oops. What does that mean? The car you drive, the business card you present, the website they go to, how you dress when you come to a meeting. You guys look really sharp. Now, I was going to do that too, then I thought, okay, that might make me look a little too much like a banker. So I am wearing a tie, but kind of cool. Okay. I'm wearing a jacket, but I'm wearing jeans. So I'm trying to give the impression that I'm a professional, I'm a business person, but I'm approachable. I'm kind of like the guy you want to take for espresso, and we can talk about business without me. You guys look really sharp. Well, okay, hold on. Who here knows Darren Weeks? 2 folks at the back, okay. We're talking big time here. Darren Weeks must own, what, 1,000 doors at least. He is with Rich Dad Poor Dad. He has a network of thousands and thousands of people. His membership is very expensive, but the guy really, he is one of the big guys in real estate. And the first time I went to my very first Oreo meeting, because I used to live in Ottawa, so Ottawa Real Estate Investors Organization, Darren Weeks is the speaker. He comes up on stage, okay? And again, I don't know this guy from Adam, but I mean, everybody's talking about Darren. So he comes on stage and he says, okay, everybody in the room get up, because there was a room with like a row of chair over here, a row of chair over here. There's a stage. Again, remember, first meeting of February 2010, first time I go to a real estate meeting. So he says, okay, everybody in this room who has a card that says professional real estate investor on this side. If you don't have a card that says professional real estate investor on this side, so everybody's back and forth, because I went to sit over there at the first meeting, right? Okay. So then he proceeds to walk to the side where the people with the professional card, and he said, okay, I'm going to talk with you guys this evening, okay, because you guys are serious. I'm not going to talk to you guys this evening. You're a total waste of my time. You shouldn't even be here. If you can't have a card that says professional real estate investor, just get out of my space. And then he's proceeded to spend the whole rest of the evening talking to this group here. I thought, whoa, okay. After it was done, he brought a guy like you on stage, and then he brought a guy with jeans and boots and, you know, a lumberjack shirt and kind of, he put them side by side, and he said, okay, you, gentlemen, sir, have $100,000 to invest in a real estate deal. Which guy are you going to be talking to here? So the guy with the boots said, well, I just come back from work and fine, I don't care. The person, the investor doesn't know the story. All he knows is how, you know, like how this person looked versus how this person looked. So everything about you is a communication tool. What is it saying? That's the question. What is it saying? Okay, a couple more trust and credibility tips. DWISYWD. Again, creating suspense. Do what you say you will do. I promise you, if you just do what you say you will do, that separates you from probably half of the people that potential investor has experienced in the last 6 months. If you say you're going to, follow up, or in your case, if you send me an email and I say I will connect you with, and a month later I haven't, what's my credibility?
Zero.
Yeah. Okay. Do what you say you will do. And the last one, I love that one there. UPOT. Under promise, over deliver. If I am promising you something for Sunday, I'll make sure you get it on Saturday. If I promise you X percentage whatever, I'll make sure you get more. Anything that you can, every chance you've got to promise something and surprise the person by doing it faster, better, cheaper, or whatever, you're scoring brownie points, and you are already distancing you from the other potential investors for that person. Under promise, over deliver. It is so uncommon, right?
Absolutely.
Well, if you're going to stand in front of a room and teach people or tell people about under-promising and over-delivering, and you promise them 10 ingredients, would it not be normal that you would throw in a few extra?
Yes.
Back to key ingredient number 10, build trust. And one of the best ways to build trust is this one. Protect your investors with your life and your life savings if you have to. There is one investor in this room, and I'm not going to name the person, who has experience investing, well, quite a few, but one in particular. Bridge financing that was supposed to be paid back in about 4 or 5 months. A lot of circumstances happened where that was not possible. So that person could have just walked away and given me a hard time and never come back and never talk with me again. Explanations were made. The money was returned and all the interest to the date of the last day that it was done. So we still are talking. We're still having a really good relationship. I overpromise and underdeliver. Sometimes circumstances make that happen. However, at the same time, the promise was that the money was going to be returned and the interest were going to be paid, and they were paid to the last. So protect your investors with your life and your life savings if you have to. We had a situation where we had to walk to a bank on a Friday afternoon and deposit $16,309.10 of our own money to cover a deal, to close a deal, because I made 2 stupid mistakes and I paid for it. However, everybody in the deal got paid what they were gonna be paid to the penny because, and guess what? Within a week, they were all back into another deal again. Because they knew what it cost me to close that deal, but everybody got paid. Even if you have to use your life saving, do whatever you can to protect your investors. That's gonna go a long way. Now, return on investment, ROI. Can anybody in the room tell me what the other meaning of ROI is? Which is way, way more important than the return on investment. Everybody talks about return on investment.
Oh, yeah.
ROI, return of investment. Everybody talks about the first one, but what I've learned over the years is the return of investment is way more important. This is what explains GICs. 1.5%, 1.75%, but 100% guaranteed the money is going to come back, correct? That's what a GIC is. GIC means we're barely going to give you any interest, actually, if you factor in the
Inflation.
what's that?
Inflation.
Yes, exactly, you're actually going backward. But for a lot of people, this doesn't matter. This is what matters. They will leave the $100,000 in a GIC going backward every year for the simple reason that they're going to get the money back. Yes, you got to talk about return on investment. It's important, but more important, and they won't tell you that necessarily, is make sure that they're going to get the money, the principal, the capital, their investment back. Way more important than the ROI up there. And if they seem to not think that way, because they might say, well, if you're going to give me 12%, I know somebody who's going to give me 15, then ask them, yeah, but between him and me, my reputation, his, my deal, his, which one has a better chance of you getting your whole money, your whole investment back? And if he goes to bed and sleeps on that a little bit, he might come back to you and he might like your 12% with a good potential for return rather than the 15%, and ooh, we'll see what happens. Key ingredient number 12, we call that JAN. Join. We are members of RAIN, we are members of the Rockstar, we are members of 2 other large groups, we are members of 9 meetup groups, and we attend as much as we can. Please remember, I live in Niagara-on-the-Lake. It's 125 kilometers to downtown Toronto, so when I come here for a meeting in the evening, I don't leave home at 5 o'clock because it's going to take me till 8 to get here. So we left home at time this afternoon, 2:30, to make sure we were going to get here on time. So when I go to Whitby, yeah, I can do that. And there's lots of meetings in Whitby, Oshawa, Ajax, Richmond Hill, Brampton, all over the place. We attend almost everything we can.
Better than Ottawa.
What's that?
Better than Ottawa.
Yeah, Ottawa.
I used to live in Ottawa and come to RAIN meetings all the time.
Yeah, actually, we joined RAIN in the summer of 2012, and we moved to Niagara-on-the-Lake in the summer of 2014. So for the 2 years that we were living in Ottawa, we missed one meeting of RAIN, monthly meeting. We missed one meeting driving from Ottawa to come to RAIN. That's because we were buying some houses in Nova Scotia. So I can't find any good excuse for somebody living in Toronto who's not going to a meeting in Toronto where they can meet people and network. When you go to these meetings, please network. Here's an interesting statistic, and this is fresh as of last Thursday. 96% of the people who have, what's that? Speed up? Yes, I know I've got 2 more minutes, maybe 3. 96% of the people who have invested with us to build a portfolio, we did not know them in 2010. 96%. So this is not something we build with friends, family, co-worker, acquaintances, whatever. Yes, there's some of them, but 96% of the people we meet at places like this, RAIN, this is when I walk into, RAIN got us about half of our investors. So when I walk into that room, to me, that's a $6 million room. So yes, I go there, I get there. The meeting starts at 7, I'll be there at 6. The meeting is at 10, I'll be there till 11:30 probably sometime. Laurel and I used to be the last 2 people leaving. We take every opportunity to talk to people about what we do. That's how we got the $11.7 million of investment. Okay, so join this group, attend everything that Todor puts together, parties, or in the summer there's going to be a really cool party again, probably on the always. And network. When you come here to talk with people. And finally, the last ingredient: take action. Absolutely everything that. Oh, she's gone. Everything that Melanie talked about this evening. Anything and everything that I talked about or that you wrote down, anything that Todor shared with you this evening, if you take all of this, go home, put it on the coffee table, and don't look at it for 6 months, total waste of your time. You may as well have stayed home and watched TV or go and have a beer with the boys or whatever. Really, if you don't take action with some of the things you heard this evening, whoever the speaker was, total waste of your time. And please, there is once in my book, I talk about that a few times, but there is one quotation that just irks me. Has anybody here ever heard the quotation, knowledge is power? Knowledge. Okay, here's the thing. I think of knowledge as a can of coffee grounds, and I think of water as power. Okay. If you want to make coffee, do you need both? How good is a can of coffee grounds if you don't have any water? To me, that's what knowledge is. Unless you take action, that coffee ground is going to stay on the table. You'll never ever get coffee out of that unless you add water to it, and the water is the action. So anytime you hear that quotation again, think of the coffee analogy, and knowledge is power. No, unless you add action to it, it is absolutely not worth anything if you don't do anything with it. All right. You can go to our website, and if you subscribe, and by the way, we haven't sent a broadcast in about a year, so it's not like we bug people with emails, but then you will receive over the next few weeks 5 free books, including the one that explains how we did this $11.7 million of financing without using a dollar of our money. So, in conclusion, all the money you need to finance the real estate deal that you want to finance is out there. Just go get it. That's my presentation.